Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Jake. You can also call me Atrocious, and today we are going to be taking a look at the top 8 match of the Aichi Japan Championships in the OP08 format in the One Piece trading card game. Excellent stuff going on right now. Very well, I guess excellent is depending on how you feel about a red purple law dominant format, because Red Purple Law stealing the show yet again in these championships, had 11 spots in top 16 and now 5 spots in top 8. If you can understand what this page right here is, it's a meta share of the decks in the top 8. So 5 Red Purple Laws, as I mentioned, 2 black Rob Luccis, and then 1 black yellow Luffy. So as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, this is going to be a Rob Lucci red purple law match. Very excited to be talking about this one, because this will be the first time that we've showcased Rob Lucci on the channel in OP07. Didn't see it at all in OP07 because of how few events there were streamed. Now we're finally seeing it. So let's see if it can hold up to the test of Red Purple Law, which is, I think, in a lot of people's minds right now, the best deck in format, undisputed best deck in format. So just for transparency, this is not my official content. If you want to see the official content, you can go check out the link in the description below. I'll have the official link to the actual stream where it was provided, the actual championships for you. But for those of you that want to stick around, do stay tuned in future videos. As soon as I get back from my vacation, we're going to go into OP07 stuff for the West. We got buy lists coming, things like that. Deck lists will showcase some of the more refined deck lists that came at the end of the OP07 format for you to be able to build decks that you want to build on day one. I've already got a pre-release set for me personally, so excited to maybe get some of the cards in that and then show them all to you as well, and some different ideas on day 0, at pre-release events. So make sure to stick around if you want to see more, but here we go. Starting off in this one, let's see the players' hands. So it looks like the Rob Lucci player is going to be going first in this match right here. The Red Purple Law player, you see the Otama Queen, Kid Killer, that's an alternate Sanji, and Black Maria in their hand right now. The Rob Lucci opting for a mulligan. And so you kind of think about in this Red Purple Law hand, not too bad. You got a little bit of rush in there. You do have Black Maria, which is very good. We've seen it time and time again so far in these OP08 videos. The what was the last tournament called? Hiroshima, the Aichi Japan Championships, just Black Maria dominant so far. And you got a couple blockers to be able to build your board, prevent some attacks, even if they do get popped relatively easily. The only thing you're looking for right now is either like a Reiju or a Gordon Raisemax combo. The Rob Lucci now getting their hand after that mulligan. We'll see what's inside of it. You got a Spandam there on the very left alternate art. Ennis Lobby, that's the stadium of choice for these CP decks. 2 Rob Luccis that we know very well from OP05. And a Khalifa, that's that draw 2, trash 2 Khalifa alternate art right there. So we'll see how this goes. They've got a perfect turn 1 play in the Spandam, hoping that Spandam will hit something. If you don't know what it is, maybe you weren't familiar in kind of OP03 when a lot of CP Rob Lucci was going around. It's basically brand new, looking at the top 3, grabbing a CP and trashing, and that's exactly what they're going to do in this one. Finding Sabo, Jack, and Ennis Lobby. Ennis Lobby is a world government card, so not actually a CP card, so no hits there, but you do build the trash a little bit, I guess. So the 2 Dawn turn, the Red Purple Law just passing, and going into 3 Dawn now. Just going to be swinging 5 and using that leader effect to trash 2 cards from the top of their deck and -2. Not going to be minusing anything, but that swing in 5 and building the trash will be nice as they take a life, and then play that Ennis Lobby down. The Ennis Lobby is an activating main. If your leader is a CP type, you give an opponent's character -2 cost for the turn. It is a rest the stage effect. It's not an on-play effect. So it is going to be really nice, especially with very little stage removal in this format. to be able to stick around consistently, especially for all these 4s and 5 bodies that the red purple law plays. So 4 Dawn now, top deck that Sachi and Penguin, I believe it was, after getting that useless Captain Kidd blocker off of life. Thinking about just swinging 5 right here. So we'll see if that's something that they do, or maybe swing 6 for that Black Maria. But going to be starting off and swinging 5. Going to be taking that life right there, getting that Khalifa. Could be playing a 4-cost character right now. I don't know if you want to play Reiju because you have too many cards in hand. You can't really play Sachi Penguin right now. Thinking about playing the Kid and Killer. So Kid and Killer being played so early in the game, right? Your opponent is still at 4 life. Not something that we see too often right here, but really putting the pressure on them right now, saying, okay, I got another rush character, you're going to swing, might as well get a card out of your hand, and that's exactly what they do. Get a 2K out of the hand. So going to be using leader effect here, more than likely to bottom deck the Spandam, and if they do and play the Sachi Penguin, they are going to be getting back to Dawn right there to go up to 5 next turn. So only can be expecting a swing out of the leader at this point now on the Rob Lucci's 5 Dawn turn, and going to be attaching 1, swinging 6, and using leader effect for trashing the Spandine and Spandam. So going to be a 2K counter off that Otama. Going to be using the minus effects to get rid of the Kid and Killer, and that Rob Lucci there on 4 Dawn is going to put back 3 different cards and pop that Kid Killer. You don't want that Kid Killer to stay around in the game, especially as you get later and later into the game. That's just how strong that card gets. So now at 5 Dawn overall for the red-purple law. The Black Maria could come into effect here either in this turn or next turn right here. You do have some Dawn to be able to play with. You do need to play 1 character down to then use leader effect and get your extra draw effect off the Reiju. So that might be something that they do, maybe playing the useless Captain Kidd and then using leader effect to play Reiju. They might play the Black Maria, do some extra swinging with the Sachi Penguin, then leader effect and play the Reiju, then use Black Maria effect. We know that Black Maria is a really good card. Going to start off though, swinging 5 and getting a card there on the life. So that Rebecca right there going into hand from life now at 3 for the Rob Lucci. Just going to be swinging another raw 5 with this Sachi Penguin. So you don't want to take too many swings if you're the Rob Lucci right now, especially at this stage of the game. Only 5 cards in hand, just Rob Lucci being able to discard so many cards, but not really being able to put cards in hand, and it all started with that Spandam miss. So going to be playing that useless Captain Kidd and then using the leader effect like I mentioned. Going to draw 2 cards. Got a Gordon and a Black Maria, so really, really nice draw right there. You got 3 Black Maria 2Ks now, which a 2K is always nice, and then 1 if you want to play it. Going to preemptively play that Raise Max. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that Raise Max, but hear me out right here. We know this Rob Lucci plays the OP05 Rob Lucci, right? It's on the field. It's in pretty much every Rob Lucci deck. I think what this red-purple law player is trying to enforce right now is saying, look, you can get rid of this guy basically for free, right, off of an effect like the OP05 Rob Lucci. But if you do, that means that's 1 less of this 4 or 5 cost characters that I have on the field that you're taking out in this turn. So basically saying you have to respond to this if you want to keep your characters off the field, or on the field is what I should say. So very, very interesting spot. The Rob Lucci going to be swinging 6 right there and using leader effect. Going to be a Black Maria 2K, going -2 on the useless Captain Kidd to put it at 3. Going to be using 1 for the Spandam, and so Spandam trashing 3 cards. Going to be a whiff again. Spandam 0 for 2 right now on there. Spandam cannot grab another Spandam searcher, so going to be using 1 more for that Tempest Kick, I believe that card is called, because they have 10 or more in trash. They're going to give -3 cost to a character, and then with the Ennis Lobby doing another -2. The useless Captain Kidd and the Reiju are both at 1 cost each right now. So this Rob Lucci being played right here, putting 3 cards back, is going to get rid of those 2 characters and, more importantly, keep this raise max on the field. So going to be a Rob Lucci swing. I think that was at the Sachi and Penguin. Either way, it is a 2K Black Maria counter right there. So drawing another card into the red-purple Laws turn. Going to be at 7 Dawn now, I believe. Or, no, I'm sorry. 5 Dawn is where they were at overall. So 5 Dawn now. You only have 4 cards in hand, so getting a little tricky, but you could, I'm going to keep saying this, you could play the Black Maria, and honestly, with the Sanji as well, you could do something like playing the Black Maria using leader effect, and then playing the Sanji as well. So using the raise max effect to minus the rested Rob Lucci. Very interesting that it's the rested Rob Lucci, maybe not opting to swing at it overall. Going to be swinging 5 at lead, so we'll see if this 5 connects. Only 3 cards in hand, a Kaku, a Helmeppo, and a Khalifa. The Helmeppo is going to be countered right there, just a simple 1K. And a Queen is going to come down. The Queen is going to rest all 5 Dawn, put 1 back, draw 2, trash 1. So you pick up a Zoro and a Reiju, both pretty decent cards. I think maybe, though, at this point, I think the player is eyeing up the Zoro. Don't necessarily need that rush overall right now. Going to be using the minus effect to get rid of the Rob Lucci, play the Black Maria, use that effect, and then pass it over to the Rob Lucci. I do end up actually liking the choice of the raise max minus, because effectively you didn't want to swing at that Rob Lucci. You wanted to commit all of that Dawn for the Queen, so you got to swing a little bit at life, got a couple cards in hand, and still got rid of that body overall. So I don't actually hate that play overall, especially with the Queen. So we'll see where the Rob Lucci player wants to go. Is thinking about playing another Tempest Kick right here. So going to be drawing 1. It's going to be another Tempest Kick in their hand. Tempest Kick draws the Tempest Kick, going to be used on the Queen to make it a 2-cost character overall right there. So thinking about what they want to play, you could play the Kaku this turn. The Kaku would be able to get rid of a 3-cost or less, and you have built up a couple different cards in the trash. I think you have 3 CP cards in there with the Spandimes, the Tempest Kick, and then also a Spandime. So going to be using leader effect and just blocking with the Queen right away right there. I do love that play, just blocking with that Queen overall. I wonder if not playing down a character to pop that Queen is a little bit of a misplay, because now you've missed out on a swing right here. But going to be attaching 3 Dawn, swinging 9 at the Queen, maybe just trying to get the Queen to be KO'd to be able to knock out another character overall. They still have 5 Dawn left, so Kaku could be played on this turn. That 5-cost, 6,000 power character. So using the NS Lobby to minus the Sachi Penguin, and that Kaku putting 3 cards with CP from its type back into the bottom of the deck is going to KO a 3-cost or less character. And now passing the turn off to the red-purple Law, getting another Rush Zoro right here. You don't hate the Rush Zoro at this point. I know I bagged on it a little bit, but you would be able to get a little bit of a poke still going in this one. So still at 3 life each. The Rob Lucci is starting to build a little bit of a board right here with that Rob Lucci and also Kaku at this point, and you really only have a Black Maria, so we'll see exactly where they want to go. Could potentially use the Gordon to just minus the power of the Rob Lucci and then try to knock it out with the Trafalgar Law Leader or the Black Maria. Could be something that we see in there, maybe not necessarily wanting to bottom deck in this, because I don't think you can bottom deck and KO Rob Lucci. Might be a little tough, but could potentially do it overall. Thinking about playing 4 Dawn, could hard play the Reiju, I think, right now, and still get that Reiju effect, because you are only at 8 Dawn. I think your opponent is at 9. So going to be drawing 2, going to be that Sachi Penguin and a Gordon. Got a 2K in there, but also a non-counter card, but something that you might want to play overall in the game. So going to be swinging 5 at lead, just seeing what happens. Going to be taking that right there, thinking of potentially a trigger. This trigger could be a couple different things. We could see a Tempest Kick trigger. We could see an Ennis Lobby trigger. We could see a Who's Who trigger. Who's Who, a new 2K being added into this deck in OP08. That is basically like an Onami, where you KO a 3 cost or less. So a couple different options in what this could be. Could also be fainting it. Maybe it looks like it is going to be a Tempest Kick, and they do end up doing it. Same effect, KO to one of your opponent's 3 cost or less characters. Get that Black Maria out of here. And that Gordon is going to minus the Kaku and then bottom deck it through leader effect to play a Sachi Penguin. Not necessarily for the boost that the Sachi Penguin gives on the on-play effect, but just to be able to get another body down, continue the pace right here. And that Sanji being played because you're at less Dawn is going to be played for only 3 Dawn overall, so great job by the Trafalgar Law replenishing the board and being able to really pressure. So Who's Who top deck is kind of nice. It is a 2K though, so you're not, it's really tough when you have so little cards in hand. But first, going to be playing that Tempest Kick just to see what they get. It's an Ennis Lobby, so not really going to help you at this point. Can decide what they want to -3, and it looks like it's going to be the Sanji. Remember, once Sanji comes into the field of play, it goes back up to the 6 cost. So now this Sanji on the field in play is back to a 3 cost at this point. The Who's Who does say on its on-play effect, you can discard 1 card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Could get tricky because you would only have 1 card left to be able to defend against 3 swings on a deck that plays several rush cards. Could be tough. We're going to start out with a 5 and trashing a couple cards. Going to be minusing a character by 2. I think it might be the Reiju. And going to be taking that life, getting the Queen, saying, you know what, I don't think I can lose this turn, so might as well try to find something like Kid and Killer at this point. If they find Kid and Killer off of life, could spell danger for this Rob Lucci player with already 1 rush character in hand in that Zoro. And so the 6K swing is going to get a Sachi Penguin. A 2K right there basically guarantees, you know, the security. No real rush cards are played in the Rob Lucci deck, so you're not really worried about that at all. You're sitting pretty comfortably overall right now, I feel like, if you're the red purple law player. And the Rob Lucci really scratching their head saying, you know what, what's going to give me the best play going into this next turn? I definitely think the Who's Who is probably something that's going to need to be played. You don't want to do it, and it feels really bad to do it, but I think it gives you overall the best possible outcome, being able to get rid of another body. Just saying, okay, my opponent has to have the rush characters, right? If they don't have the rush characters, then I might actually be sitting in a pretty good spot. So maybe just trying to figure out if there's any other scenario other than that to be able to play in this one. The 5 would leave 4 done open, I think, overall. So you could swing with Spandine also if you wanted. The Spandine could be a nice little, what would 4 be? 6K swing at life to try to get a 2K, maybe try to get another life, see what happens. Going to be playing this Who's Who to be taking out the Sanji right there, discarding that Ennis Lobby. Doesn't really do you any good in the hand. And that 6K swing right there, going to be swinging at lead, and that Sachi Penguin is going to counter. So drawing into another Sanji could be interesting in what we see. Could maybe try to play it a little safe, but how safe can you play this overall if you are the red purple law player right now? Because I think you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Dawn overall. You know they only have 1 card in hand, right? So if you swing 6s at the Rob Lucci, you will get it whether whether the opponent likes it or not, right? With no blockers going around. You do have another Gordon, so you can actually clear board right here. Swing the 6 with the Reiju into the Lucci, get the Khalifa, swing another 6, just raw right into the Rob Lucci character, be able to KO that because they have nothing in hand. Use the Sachi Penguin to KO the Spandine, then use the Gordon to minus the Who's Who, and then do so. Oh, going at life, actually. They weren't going at the Rob Lucci. They were going at life. I think they're going for lethal right now. So swinging 7 now in there is going to take a life. It's going to be that Who's Who, another 2K, but the 9 is going to go through because they only have 2 2Ks in those 3 cards. If only Rob Lucci had a little bit of counter on there. I was playing the long game, but this player said, you know what, I can win right now. So excellent job. Just doing the math perfectly on that one to know exactly where they needed to be in order to win on that turn, not stalling out the game any longer and giving the opponent an opportunity to come back in that one. Great job. Now, let's go over some lists. I don't have exact deck lists for these 2 players, but I do have some sample deck lists that are very similar, I feel like, in structure and are probably at least good starting points for you to be able to build this deck yourself. So I was actually able to get this player's deck list. I actually found the exact player's deck list of the Red Purple Law. So let's take a look at this first because, you know, Red Purple Law, if you want to know what a Red Purple Law list looks like in OP08, just go check out like the last 5 videos that I've done of these tournaments. This one, in my opinion, feels like kind of the most vanilla overall, or the like safest bet if you were going to be like, hey, I've got a gun to your head. I need you to make a perfect 50 or a really good 50 of Red Purple Law, and it has to exactly match mine or else you're doomed. I feel like this is a pretty safe bet. Playing the 4 Marias, Puddings, Sanji, Reijus, Kids, Sachi Penguin, Queen, Kid Killer, Max, Gordon, Otama. Playing 4 Trafalgar Laws. Trafalgar Law could be really nice. I feel like Trafalgar Law has really made a resurgence in a lot of these Red Purple Law lists that we've been seeing in OP08. The Zoro as well. Zoro being one of the other flex spots in this deck, just opting for another kind of rush character overall, and maybe even something in where you have to discard a card from your hand due to like the OP06 Perona, right? That's an easy card that you can pitch because you might not need it in a ton of matchups. So again, this was the winning list in that match there for you right there. And let's go look at some Rob Lucci lists. So this isn't the same Rob Lucci list because that hasn't been made public yet, but what I do have is something that is probably pretty similar in essence of this. So this Rob Lucci right now, you can kind of see a little bit of the skeleton. You play a lot of Tempest kicks. You play a lot of Ennis lobbies. Who's in here? We saw the Jack in the game. Spandine is something that's either played at a 2 or 1, depending on what you prefer. You've got Rob Lucci's and Rebecca's, and obviously the Gecko, one of the best black cards that we have in the game right now. And then some of the other CP engine cards of Khalifa, Kaku, and Spandam. I do know that the list that was actually played in that stream game did have some Helmeppos and then also some Ice Age in that list. So I don't know about the 6 Kings Guns or whatever that card is. I don't know about the Surus entirely or the Sabo, but I do know that across a lot of lists that we see in Rob Lucci decks, Suru is something that's seen a lot. Sabo is something that's seen a lot. The Brooks Sabo combo as well as the Jack down there is a card, or set of cards I should say, that we see a lot in this game. So this can be a really great starting point for you overall, especially if you kind of want to use a lot of older cards as well. Some kind of tech cards, right? The 6 Kings Gun, probably more so a tech card in a sense. The 0 cost 3,000 power can be really nice at times for when you have non-counter cards like Sabo, Jack, Gecko, Lucci, right? That's just the that's all the non-counters aside from these over here, the Ice Age Ennis Lobby or the Tempest Kick. But overall, just a really cool deck. It feels like one of those things though that in the matchup you probably have to hit like a Spandine Lucci at some point to be able to just cheat out characters overall, and really just need to be able to pop any character that gets responded. I feel like Brook could also be a really, really good card in this matchup, right? Because you use the Rob Lucci leader effect to -1. Oh gosh, I said -2 earlier. I'm so sorry. I meant to say -1. So that Eustace Captain Kid Blocker at the beginning of the game was actually a 2 cost, and the Reiju, I believe, was a 1 cost in that. Potentially. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, using something like the Ennis Lobby or the leader effect will give you really, really good opportunities to really utilize something like Brook or Sabo, right? Being able to KO these different characters, and then also potentially something like Jack, right? Being able to as well draw cards. We did see Jack in that deck. One of the better black cards to come out of OP08 overall. That's made its way into a ton of different black decks like Rob Lucci and the starter deck 14 Luffy I've even seen it in. So overall, just really cool stuff going on in this tournament. We'll see exactly what top 4 in the finals bring us, but until then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next video. I am almost home. I am so close to being home in my regular setup, and more videos are going to be coming. But we just wait a little bit longer, all right? See ya.